The episode title promised laughter. I received none of that, only tears, mostly from me. But hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly ReZero Season 2 discussion video. Today we're talking all about episode 18, The Day Betelgeuse Laughed. But before we get into the video proper, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of AniTube know that you're here, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. Oh, this episode is fire. Oh, this episode is so good. It also made me very sad. But I feel like that's kind of the point with ReZero. It's like every time something's super hype, it also sort of like makes you feel some sort of strong emotion. This week it's definitely, there's like a hint of sadness as everything sort of falls apart. And I got a lot of people telling me like it's Betelgeuse, not Betelgeuse. And I was like, listen, I've seen it written both ways. I've seen it Betelgeuse, Romani Conti des. I've also seen it Betelgeuse. I believe Crunchyroll says Betelgeuse. I say Betelgeuse because it reminds me of Beetlejuice, so deal with it. But yeah, Betelgeuse versus Regulus. My two boys going toe to toe. That's, I think, the big thing that I want to talk about this week. I likely probably even made it the thumbnail and the title because to me this was like the craziest part. Definitely not the saddest part, although watching Goose get, watching his resolve be challenged the way that Regulus challenges him is sort of sad to see. He still puts up a very valiant effort, and I think it's interesting to see how Regulus sort of views the box. When Goose pulls out the box, I'm thinking like, what's in the box? And it's the witch factor. You know, it's like the unseen hand, so I'm like, oh shit! That's kind of awesome. And by kind of, I mean very. Of course, it doesn't necessarily get him the W, like I was kind of hoping it would, but at the same time, I'm like, there's no way he's gonna win here because Regulus is obviously still around later, and like, I don't know who this Pandora chick is. I have thoughts on her. We'll get into that in a sec. But, yeah, I kind of, just because we know what Betelgeuse becomes, I was like, Goose isn't gonna make it out of this. But again, I said last week, I'll say it again, Goose is like a snack, right? Goose is a snack with 2 C's. I saw one dude get like, bro, that's cringed. And I was like, if you can't appreciate my man's aesthetics, you need to take your homophobic ass out of my comment section. Because Betelgeuse is top tier. That man, like OG Betelgeuse, top tier. Husbando material in the utmost. And yet, you know, he becomes the Betelgeuse that we know, who is more, he's still fun, but he's a lot more of a psycho. I was kind of expecting us to see him become that Goose by the end of this week's episode, since it is titled The Day Betelgeuse Laughed. But I assume it's still gonna happen the same day, but it just didn't happen here. Because we don't see him laughing. We see him screaming and crying out in pain and anger, but we don't necessarily see him laughing yet. He has not quite had his Joker one bad day moment, although this is the bad day. And the fight itself, top tier. I thought seeing Regulus get whipped around by the unseen hands was like, yes, so satisfying because Regulus is such a dick. But I can't help it. There's something about Regulus that's just fun, you know? Something about the character is just sort of fun to see. His whole constant, like, cocky, like, it's all about me, you know? He sounds like a YouTuber. Just in his arrogance, he is very entertaining. I can't help it. I think it comes down to the Seiyu as well. The Seiyu choice, obviously, definitely is a big benefit. I think he just sort of has a charm to him. I love his character design as well. I talked about it way back at the beginning of the season when I did his design time, although I did get some of the colors wrong, which I feel a little bit bad about. But yeah, the whole thing, like, between him and between Regulus and Goose is great. It's a great struggle. Again, like, for me, a fight scene is about the story being told between the characters, not so much the choreography. Brilliant choreography is great and obviously very helpful in a fight scene. But, like, for this fight scene, it's not so much like this, like, choreographed hand-to-hand battle or anything. It's just Goose's desperate struggle to defend the ones he loves and the overwhelming shadow of what he will become. Like, the constant talk of love it's like, oh crap. Like, we know where this is going. And it's sort of difficult to watch him sink into the Betelgeuse that we know. But it's still just such an entertaining fight. Again, even though it's maybe not like the most like beautiful hand-to-hand choreography Sakuga type fight, it's still, in my opinion, a really top-tier fight in ReZero, and I have to give it some kudos. And of course, getting saved by Fortuna at the last second. Oh, Fortuna. Best girl. And of course, as so many people pointed out, this is Kirito and Asuna. That's kind of amazing. Like, I love the fact that they always find each other. You know, like, you guys know, I've talked about SAO a lot here on the channel. I'm one of the people who sort of champion SAO, even though SAO can be a dumpster fire sometimes. I am the first to admit that there are entire arcs of ReZero that are trash, but I like Kirito and Asuna. I can't help it. So seeing the two of them as Betelgeuse and Fortuna is great. Now we've already known that our boy was Goose in the past because the Seiyu is brilliant, but to have Asuna's Seiyu come in and play Fortuna, that was great. Fortuna basically coming in to make the save is great. And I love that she says, like, what am I supposed to do if you're not here to show up, huh? Like, what am I just gonna wait for you forever? I'm not strong enough to do that. And Goose is like, no, you are. Like you're stronger than anyone. And she's like, no, that was an act. I was trying to be tough. And I do think that she is tough as nails. I think she's just saying that. But I like the idea that even she is like, no, you can't leave me. You know how, like, in the same way that Amelia is like, Mom, you can't leave me. She's like, she knows that, like, there's certain people who she can't leave either. But she knows in order to protect Amelia that she has to, you know, block whatever's coming, and she has to get Archie to help her out. Poor Archie, by the way. Poor Legolas, as I said in my reaction for the last episode. I didn't do a reaction this week. I'm still sort of recovering. My throat did act up again, so sorry. There's not gonna be many reactions this week. Just gotta take care of my throat. But yeah, I said in my reaction for last week, every time Archie showed up, Legolas. Yeah, he gets taken out by those snake things, or the snake thing that I believe the Witch of Gluttony made, one of the beasts. But yeah, we see it briefly. It doesn't quite look like a snake; it looked more like a glob of snakes, which I'm sure my boy Sun Woo is definitely gonna love that. But yeah, definitely like loved seeing Fortuna come in to save Goose, even though we have a good idea how this is gonna go. You know, Fortuna's probably gonna die. Goose is probably gonna go insane going up against Pandora, and now is probably the best time to get into that. Is Fortuna. Let's talk about Fortuna. You guys do remember I'm a zombie, right? I could literally eat your brain, like right now. Except I won't, because you've definitely already hit subscribe, which means I'll leave you alone. Unless you haven't, in which case, guess who's having a brain Sunday today? So Tape Sensei really just said, like, King of Crimson, right? Like, that's basically... Anybody else get that vibe? Because, like, when I see Fortuna, I'm thinking, like, okay, she definitely has, like, the witch vibe. Although I don't believe she's necessarily a witch. I think she's more of, like, an archbishop or issue. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to a lot of the ReZero lore, I kind of rely on you guys, because you guys know me, I have the memory of a goldfish and the brain of a zombie. So that is to say, I have to eat others just to maintain my brain. So I do forget things a lot, and I'm kind of oblivious to certain things. So if we've ever seen Pandora up to this point, I don't recall her. So I was like, I don't know who this is. She seems to be either an archbishop or a witch. I'm going to assume she's a witch because she has the witch vibe to her. The design is really neat, like the white and blue. White and blue though, like what are they trying to say with that? I know I'm like the color design time, but I was like the design time guy, but I was like, what the hell are they trying to say here? Like white would mean innocence, blue means security amongst many things, calmness. Secure and calm in her power? Maybe? I don't know. This one's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The design for this one, I love it, but I am like, I wonder what they're trying to say. I'm not too sure, but I like it. I know that I like it. And she is, as I said, very King of Crimson. Just the fact, because or maybe she's, I don't even know if she's King Crimson. She might be more like GER, you know, like Gold Experience Requiem. Just like, well, I don't know, because she erases the cause, which negates the effect, right? So she's erasing Regulus. Well, she didn't erase Regulus. She just sent Regulus back, and that caused him to be there the whole time, which in turn meant that Goose never lost his arm, and that she never got disintegrated. But if she could have done that the whole time, like, so... Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Okay, so if she did that... So, you can't end her. Like, you can't kill this character, because if she can do that while being disintegrated into nothingness, like, she got perfect celled, you know what I mean? Like, just destroyed at the atom level. So, you just can't kill this character. So... I don't know what Fortuna and Goose are gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I say that Fortuna's probably gonna die, Goose is probably gonna go insane. Because I don't think there's any way to stop that. It's like, yeah, she's King Crimson, or maybe, yeah, again, maybe even Gold Experience, because you can't even stop it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no... I don't know, man. But this really did remind me of Part 5, where I'm just like, we're doing some timey-wimey nonsense, but it's to a point where it's like, I don't even know... What the hell? Because even Part 5, I hear that the manga for Part 5 is more confusing, but even the anime confused me. Again, goldfish brain, but still, that was a lot. So everything with Fortuna reminded me of King Crimson and Gold Experience, because I was like, what is she? Like, what is this character? What is that power? That is insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. There's one more thing that I want to talk about. I'm not really going to touch too much on the Beatrice and Roswaal thing, even though I know that you guys know that I love Roswaal. You were probably expecting me to freak out about that. But we don't know enough about what's going on there, so I don't really have enough time to really elaborate on that. We already knew that Beatrice was connected to Echidna, so that wasn't really a surprise. I guess, like, learning that Beatrice and Ryuzu were connected was neat, and seeing Roswaal was neat. But until we learn a little bit more, I'm just going to kind of say, that was cool. I don't know what that means. How does Sanctuary collapse? I'll save my thoughts on all of this probably for next week if we see what happens. I don't know if they are going to explain next week. I'm just guessing because they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger. For the most part, it's just the Amelia show, which I'm here for. And yeah, we're going to talk about that now if you can't tell by the screenshot. Oh my god. That was the saddest thing. Just the saddest thing. Just the saddest thing. Like, I see... Because it's, to me, it's the fact that neither wanted to go, but there was no choice. You know, like, Fortuna's like, I wish I could have stayed with you. Like, she doesn't say that out loud, but you know she's thinking that. Like, that you can tell just by her actions that she would give anything to have this have not happened. You know, and, like, having to give her to Archie and just telling Archie to, like, book it. And even Archie not being able to stay with her. You know, only the spirits in the end, and hopefully Puck is among them somewhere. But, like, I hope we see Puck next week. But Fortuna not being able to stay with Amelia is heartbreaking. And the whole scene just hits very heavy in a way that I think most were likely expecting, but it still hits. Even if you knew, like, the goodbye was coming, even if you knew that they were going to have some sort of final farewell, I'm glad they got it to be in a moment where they weren't being, like, attacked. You know, like that Fortuna didn't have to say goodbye with, like, a gaping hole in her chest or something. Like, she actually got to comfort Amelia, say goodbye properly, and then do the whole, like, you'll be in my heart, like, that whole thing. It really did, yeah. Like in my head, I'm like, that's in my headcanon, that song played. In my headcanon, Archie's in the background playing "You'll Be in My Heart" from Tarzan. But yeah, it's I really, really appreciated that Amelia got to. I think it's important that she saw that. Like, I think it's important that Amelia got to see that no one you were not abandoned, and they're never gonna go away. They're always with you. You know, I kind of, as much as I liked that Amelia has been growing. I kind of wanted her not to cry here, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm happy that she's letting out those emotions and really feeling the weight of everything that's happened. I did want her to cry, obviously. Like, not that like I wanted Amelia to cry, but I think crying is the right character decision in terms of writing. I do think that that's brilliant. I almost would, like, I had in my head, like, I was like, is she gonna like not smile, but like be comforted by what Fortuna is saying? And I do think she is. It's just, it's still heavy and you're gonna cry. I would have loved like a moment where like they could have hugged, or like, even though Amelia knows that she can't feel her, she hugs her anyway or something like that. That would have messed me up. Like the idea of like hugging someone but they can't feel you and you can't even really feel them, but you still feel it in the heart, like that would have got me. I'm glad that Amelia got to see all of this. Even though it's heartbreaking and sad, I think it's ultimately only going to help her become stronger as a person and know that her basically her mother, right? Like she even says, like, you were always my real mom. Like her mother figure, her mom, the one who raised her, never, like, didn't just abandon her, didn't run away. She tried to save her and gave everything she could for her. Like, and she's never gonna go anywhere. She never left. She's always in here. Oh man, that was heavy. That was heavy. And the acting, oh my god. And like Amelia constantly saying, I'll be good, I promise. I'm like, girl, this is not your fault. Like, I was just like, oh my god, Amelia. I'm not gonna lie, I cried. But you guys know me, I cried at the drop of a hat. But I just remember crying and I'm thinking like my girl Amelia, this is not your fault, tiny Amelia. Oh my god, tiny Amelia. Just like, oh, it just breaks my heart. Yeah, tiny Amelia, it's not your fault. It's just, oh. Great episode. With that said, though, everybody, that is going to wrap up today's video here, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AndyTube know that you're here. And of course, before we go, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button. That gets you a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course, your name scrolling past the screen here. Or you can go ahead and check out that Patreon link in the description. Either way, it is super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron, and that is it for me. So until next time, you stay classy, AndyTube. You wash your dang hands, and you might want to bring a box of tissues next week for next week's episode. I have a feeling we're gonna lose somebody, and it's probably gonna be sad.